Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to a very special episode of the MitsuTimes podcast. My guest today is Mr. Andrew Welling. How are you today, sir?
Doing good, Josh. How about you, man?
I am doing great. This is a cool one. We've been trying to do this for a while, but I wanted to do this earlier in the year and completely forgot about it. But we thought it would be cool to sit down and do some preseason predictions for the the drag racing side. I think a lot of other kind of channels like NASCAR and F1 and stuff, they do preseason predictions, and I thought it would be cool if we did some Mitsubishi preseason predictions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of us follow each other and, talk with each other, and some of us know what others are working on, some of us don't, but kind of cool to see what we predict and what ends up panning out this season.
For sure. And I feel like last year was a pretty good season. I mean, we had, we'll get into it later, but we had some new records, and we had the biggest payout of all time as far as our community is concerned. So it was definitely a year to go big.
Yeah, I wish I was more of a part of it, but we'll get there.
Yeah. As always, whenever your sports team sucks, they always say, "Oh, well, we're in a rebuilding season." You're just in a rebuilding season, Andrew. That's
I am a really long one.
All right. Well, before we get right into things, we should mention that there's 42 lists on MitsuTimes. As far as I'm concerned, those are the quickest cars in the world, the quickest Mitsubishi cars in the world, I should say. And if you're not on the list, then I'm not counting you.
Yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, right? It's if you don't submit your time slip, there's no proof.
Right. So this is we're strictly going off what's on the list and what we know about. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We'll do a quick review of the 2024 season. Like I said, there was a lot of records broken and some drivers that deserve definitely an honorable mention. I think I want to start off with Rafe breaking, not only the Evo record again and again and again and again, plus being the first to go over 200 mile per hour in an Evo in the quarter mile, and also taking the Evo X record while he was at it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, the Evo platform is surprisingly, at least in the U.S. here, right, 22 years old already. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? And it's taken a while, but kudos to those guys. It's a huge feat. I mean, 200 mile an hour, that's nuts.
Right.
That's absolutely nuts.
And I had Rafe on the podcast probably about a year ago, and he said, "There's absolutely no way an Evo will go 6 seconds. There's no way an Evo will go 7.5 seconds." And Rafe's already proven that there is a way, and that it can be done. So that's really cool. Do you think, Andrew, there'll ever be a 6-second Evo?
In due time. I think these guys are going to get more aggressive with these chassis. And really push the limits, right? It's going to come down to weight, suspension. We know power can be had, right? Mm-hmm. There's been so much technology that's changing, and smaller turbos making more power, right? Which means new bigger turbos will make that much more.
Right.
So
right.
If there's one thing about racers, specifically drag racers, they will find a way.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way, for sure. I think we also need to talk about Booston going 685 at 215 with the version 2, getting closer to the version 1 mile per hour record. I mean, that thing is, it's always flying, but it seems that World Cup, it is definitely set to kill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's another one, right? I mean, we'd seen some 6-second 4G cars in the past, right? I mean, over the last 30 years, there's been different builds, but not in a, unibody chassis, right? Rear-wheel drive converted, tube cars, but seeing that happen with such a much more representative, right, vehicle to what a lot of these guys are building. I'm not a 2G guy, but what the 2G guys are building, and to see that in action, how can it not motivate you?
Right. And I think we also need to mention that a lot of the rear-wheel drives, Albert Rosinski, Camden Herring, they both 2023 was kind of I guess a filling out kind of season. In 2024, it seemed like they were out there getting some good times and moving straight to the top of the list.
Yeah, and Albert, he's such a cool dude. When he had that car at PRI, I want to say it was like 2021, I think, and he was still working through some of the finishing up of the fab. He had like the intercooler and stuff on there, but like seeing the car set up, and I went and talked to him, and I was like, man, what have you gotten yourself into? And he was like, a giant hole, but it's going to be fast. And I'm like, this thing is wild, right? I can't wait. And then to finally see it come out and start shaking down. Yeah, it was 2 years ago now. And then last year, just turning the wick up. It just shows, right? He's 10 plus years deep into that setup, going from very much a streetable style build, right, to a pro mod, right? We'll use that term loosely.
Yeah.
Drag racers find a way, right? They find a way.
Straight, not straight too. Obviously, he had some shakedown passes, like you said. Top 10 4G63 passes of all time with a 6.5. That's just insane. It goes to show the quality of the craftsmanship that Albert is doing on that car, like you said.
Yep, for sure.
Well, Andrew, did you have any recaps from last year you want to talk about?
Really, it's just overall the advancement of all the cars, right? I feel like the last few years, especially, everybody's been much more exploratory, I'll say, with their builds.
Right.
Getting into new turbochargers, whether they're bottom of the barrel budget or they're high dollar, right? You hear the Pulsar versus Apex debates, but again, it's just crazy to see everybody is taking what they can, and doing incredible things with it, right? It's awesome to see,
And I hate to bring down the mood, but on the flip side of that, we're seeing the tip of the spear of the auto guys kind of struggle, right, in 2024.
Yeah, I would say that's almost, kind of stand out in a bad way, right? I do feel like there was a huge withdrawal on the auto cars, and a lot of that was just, it's really stemmed off of two things, right? It's converters and planetaries. So, it's been rough, but again, I think we've been spoiled a little bit with how quickly technology has changed, and guys are able to get, new parts, new sources, get these builds going and make big strides. But again, think about that's been over the last, 5 years or so. You go back 20 years when I first got, my first DSM, the steps, the time, the ET differences at that time were not nearly as drastic. The mile an hour changes were not nearly as drastic. It took a long time for us to figure these things out. And I think we've got a little spoiled here recently. And now we're hitting something where it's like we really have a challenge to work through.
Right.
And it's taking some time. This stuff takes time.
Yeah. I definitely think, when it comes to some off-season changes that people are making, I think because the shootout rules were released earlier in the year, and of course the shootout is our Super Bowl, we're seeing people adapt their cars to these new rules, and that's going to shape a lot of the builds going forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I for one I wasn't surprised, but I was caught a little off guard with the kind of steadfast, hard rule on catch pans and cross bolts, right? And
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm not disagreeing with them at all. I think they're 100% the right move. But I do know the cross bolts especially kind of caught some people off guard, especially when you kind of walk down the level of classes that they're required for, right? There's gonna be some impacts to that, and guys are kind of having to make those adjustments. But luckily, it's not like those rules came out, today, right?
Right.
So if you're a racer, a real racer, I'll say, and you are really trying to make sure you fit the rules and want to play the game, then you're gonna make it work, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get in there, you're gonna find a way, and make it happen. So
Yep.
obviously, for guys that are running setups that are more, um, I'll say bespoke, right? Side exit exhausts, hood exits, whatever. Um, V-band type setups you can buy, right? Cross bolt V-band adapters already.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that are selling kits that just go ahead and weld right into your exhaust pipe, But for those guys that are running much more, I'll say stock appearing type setups, those are going to be a little bit of a struggle on how to integrate that and make sure you meet those rules. If you're a 950 car with a traditional full exhaust, then you got to kind of figure this out. So
Right. Well, Andrew, is there anybody that stands out to you as the most surprising performance from last year?
yeah, I mean, I would say to me, Aaron Anderson. That guy came out with a new setup. He had the new ECU. He's been working through all of those woes. And to me, he put that together and got it to work so well, so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. And then to top it all off, right, he iced the cake with a shootout 950 index class win last year. That was like, you did it, man. You know what I mean? Like, man, you made it.
Yeah. Well, moving forward on to 2025, we definitely know the popular shops will be out there, boosting. Like we mentioned, English Racing's going to have the OG Evo, hoping to have the Evo 10 out. Obviously, we're going to see RRT with their stuff, Hockman Fabrication and Speed. But, I wanted to mention Grade A Garage because they're actually debuting a new Evo build that they're doing at the shootout this year. And from talking to Matt, I mean, they're shooting for the top of the list. And, they've been obviously at the top of the list in the Evo 10 world, so I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, and that's awesome hearing that there's another shop that's, I'll say, investing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That really makes me happy, right? It should make the community happy. Because as long as these shops continue to support the platform, and they're the ones that are making the investments, right? Sometimes they're losing money on these deals, but they're trying to help push, not only themselves but keep paving the way for others. And how can you be mad at that?
Right, for sure. That's the kind of stuff that doesn't get appreciated enough, for sure.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Well, Andrew, one thing that sticks out in my mind is Christian Goodrum with the Galant VR4. He's already broke the Galant VR4 record into the low eights, and then goes back a couple weeks later and runs the first ever Galant VR4 7-second pass. I mean, that is a hell of a start to a year. Do you think that he's kind of set the tone for the 2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, I would say more than set the tone. He Van Damme kicked the door in. So by all means, like that's the way to start it off, and to stick with it. Kudos for sure. And I want to see everybody take that and keep the momentum, right? Christian included, but everybody around him and everybody who witnessed that, right, who follows him, use that motivation.
Yeah. Last year we had do it for Joe's motivation. This year we need to keep the momentum of what Christian and all those guys over at CNG Autosports are doing, and just keep that going.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and there's some other smaller teams and individuals, right, that I think are going to really help expand upon that.
Yeah.
You get like the Spec Ops guys, right? Brandon and Jeremy and them. Like again, those guys have grit, and they're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Tony Marks is another one. That guy will do whatever it takes. And I see them doing kind of like Christian did, right? Once they get their setups back out there,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah. Tony Nemzik's another one representing the DSM guys in the Nopi class. I mean, he's out there kicking ass for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Andrew, I know there's been a lot of kind of teasers or, cars that we're seeing coming together on social media or on DSM Tuners. I haven't really had a time to stretch their legs yet. I wanted to take the time by, start to talk about them a little bit. The first one that stands out to me is Harley and his build. I mean, he's going from, a somewhat serious build to a very serious build. I know, he's new to a build like this, but when he's got Kevin Collins and the early performance guys behind his back, I think that thing's going to hit the ground running for sure.
Harley's my boy, Blue. He embodies all the motivation I wish I had every day. But to take the situation, that he dealt with, right? The accident at Edgewater, and being able to really flip the positive on that, right? And push himself and go, this is what I want to do, and I want to do it right. I mean, and he's doing it right. You look at the setup, right? He's talking to the right people, and he's done it in a crazy amount of time, to turn around that level of build.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to see, and I'm so excited to see these last few bugs get ironed out, and really just put that car on the track and get back in the seat, because he deserves every bit of it.
For sure. I know another one that really stands out to me is Eric Englert in that 6G75 3000 GT. That thing is going to be a monster. I mean, it's definitely the Frankenstein build of all Frankenstein builds. It's out to do some business.
Oh yeah, and Eric's a great guy too. These guys, especially the guys that have been around for a while. Eric's been doing this a long time. He's even disrupted some people, right, when he had the V8 3000 GT. But what he's doing with the 6G stuff, right? Him and Sean, it's great. It's really showcasing that you can do more than just the same old 4G 63 DSM, right? Mm-hmm. Again, paving those paths and making it a little bit easier for people to go, hey, well, I could probably do something similar to that too, or
Right.
It opens up people's eyes, right?
There's going to be so many people at events that go, what engine is this?
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna be a head turner. I mean, there was, I'll never forget. I was at a race. Gosh, it had been 15 years ago now, probably, in my old black 1G, and we went out and we were running a 16th of a mile drag race. Okay, 16th of a mile. And we went out there, and there's all these big power cars, and there's only a couple of us import guys, and I ran open comp and dominated 2 weeks in a row. And the one guy come up to me, and it was the funniest thing, because I even had the hood open, and he's like, "Oh boy, what's in that thing? A small block Chevy?" I was like, "No, why would you?" No. He's like, "Man, you're out here whooping everybody." And I'm like, "Dude, it's just a four banger." And Eric's gonna take this car, and he's gonna do more than just import stuff with it, right? And it's going to be a head scratcher for so many people who don't know the platform, they don't know the engine. They're going to be so confused by what that thing is, and then it's going to be great to see their faces when he's, putting the beat down on them. So
sure.
I'm all for it. I'm excited.
Ryan Sharp's build seems to be, ticking the box of a very serious build, one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even know he was doing that until somewhat recently. I saw some stuff pop up, and I was kind of confused, and next thing you know, I'm really looking at some of the pictures. I'm like, man, this thing is legit. Like I'm excited to see what comes of it. Now, I guess I haven't talked to him. I don't know how close he is, but I think he's still got quite a bit of work ahead of him. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know if it's going to be coming together this year or not, but it's definitely going to be awesome when he's done. So, and I'm a little bit jealous, but at the same time, I'm kind of going down somewhat of the same route myself.
Right.
So, taking quite a bit of time to really go and say, all right, let's put 20 years of experience into a car and build it, the way that it needs to be for what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So,
As good as it can be. Yeah. Andrew, are there any that you're keeping your eye on?
really, I'm looking for some guys to put up some updates more than anything. I was talking with John Royer the other day about some stuff, and he's making some small changes to his car, but again, just trying to make things better, and push a little better. And honestly, the guys down under, all the Australian guys, they are cooking up some stuff down there.
Yep.
Jeremy is helping with some builds that, they're gonna dominate.
I mean, we just saw Damien in that green going VR4 just running 9. I mean, the guy was running 12s just a year ago.
Yeah. The whole Australian market. I mean, I've been following it for a while now, since the first time Jeremy reached out to me for, valve body parts, and it's been awesome to see what those guys are doing, and they are being really aggressive with their builds, and it's cool to see. So, hopefully sometime we can get our worlds to cross over a little bit, but obviously shipping cars around the world isn't easy. But man, I'd love to see some of this stuff in person.
Sure, for sure. And when it comes to updates and names that a lot of people don't know, that Camden Herring, like I was talking about with the green Dodge Avenger, I mean, he's been doing a lot of no time stuff and a lot of 8-mile stuff, and he's pretty much winning everywhere he goes. I mean, once this 4G63 powered, lack of a better word, pro mod stretches its legs in a quarter mile, I'm excited to see what it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's definitely still, anybody who thinks that Mitsubishi platform is dead, or what I mean, DSMs are dead, they're not watching. They're not paying attention. That's for sure.
For sure. I guess if you don't have social media, maybe you think that.
That's true. That makes it tough.
Another one is Cameron Souls down in Florida. He usually does the roll racing at FL2K, but they took it out this year, so he's going to have to launch it. And that is a very serious build. I can't wait to see what that thing does in the quarter mile, because I have a feeling it's going to go up there pretty far.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully he's getting some stuff put in place to take the launch. I mean, it is a big shift on the car. If you've really built around roll racing, right? Which, there's some people that have. It is a risk. It's a change that you got to manage. So if that's being taken into consideration, for sure, it could definitely have some killer ETs.
Andrew, do you have a sleeper pick of the year that people out there listening needs to keep their eye on? Maybe a name that isn't heard of very much.
I would say a sleeper pick. Well, I would have said Jim Flash, Mr. Jimmy Brand, but he already flashed
that was
his
my
cards. Yeah, he already flashed his cards here. So I'm gonna really put some pressure on Chance Aubrey here to get that elusive 7. I mean, that's what he's built for and been working towards for quite some time, and it's definitely got the car for it.
Yeah,
I would love to see him finally reach that goal.
Yeah, I was also going to pick Jim Flash. A name that goes unnoticed, maybe because of his own doing on purpose, but Richard Blyer. I mean, he's does a lot of back the track stuff, but he's finally retired, got some time on his hands, and he plans to turn that thing up.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I mean, those two now are kind of in a 2G auto battle. I mean,
Right. Sure.
that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
If they really, right, if they really end up kind of pushing each other, could be interesting to see where it lands.
Are you looking for top-notch automotive work in Western Pennsylvania? Look no further than Grade A Garage in Burgettstown. Whether it's performance upgrades, routine maintenance, or full custom builds, Grade A Garage does it all with precision, passion, and that small-town honesty you can trust. From track-ready machines to daily drivers, they treat every car like it's their own. So if you want Grade A work at a fair price, hit up Grade A Garage. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and head over to gradeagarage.com or stop by their shop in Burgettstown today. Your ride will thank you. So I thought it would be fun to kind of go through the popular shootout classes and pick who we think could be the potential winner. I just wanted to hit on Quick 32, Street Eliminator, and Stock Appearing. And I wanted to note, in case you don't already know, listeners, the Street 32 has a 68.7 millimeter restriction this year. Street Eliminator will have a 64.9 turbo restriction next year. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and there is actually another caveat too. I believe it's new this year for Street 32, and that is allowing Lexan so long as there is no external riveting.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
So I know there's some cars that were kind of pushed out of Street 32 because of a Lexan, right? They would allow optic armor and obviously full glass. But for those guys that were running like a sealed in Lexan in their quarter window and all of that, that was not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But now it is, the way I'm reading it. So that could definitely push some cars into that category and out of quick. And that could definitely disrupt that street class. And I love that class. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite ones to watch.
Yeah, that's all. So with that being said, Andrew, do you got any picks for any particular class?
I'm gonna drop Kevin Collins as Street 32 winner at the shootout this year. I think he's gonna get his car sorted out and keep it together and make his way back to the finals and take it this time.
Nothing against Kevin, but I'm going to go with Richard Blyer in the Street 32 class.
Hey, that's a good bet too. A good bet too. And in fact, I'm pretty sure this Lexan rule helps him. He's one of the guys.
Yep, he did mention that. What about stock appearing? That class has gotten more and more competitive, and you almost have to run a high 8 to fit in with the boys in there.
Yeah, I mean that class is definitely it's definitely been pretty crazy. I mean, I know, like with the Club Diamond Star guys, we've done a lot of index and bracket over the years with our builds, and there's been some guys that have looked at the stock appearing class, and you're like, oh man, I could probably do it, and then you look at what the top 5 cars qualify at, and you're like, oh no, never mind.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, Matt Franks is, he's dominated that. So it'll be interesting to see, there's some new builds even maybe that are coming. I know I've seen, I don't have any names, but I know I've seen some guys, especially in the Evo side, right, that are really trying to push their cars with these more stock appearing setups. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and who shows up. That'll probably be the big thing.
For sure.
Right. If you don't show up, you'll never win, right?
Right. Exactly. And a lot of those guys kind of been, not a lot of them, but a few of them been kind of pushing towards Street Eliminator, so they're not all racing each other from the same team in the same category. So I think that'll make it interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got guys like, Bob Breach in Street Eliminator that, he gets the job done, every round. So, you got some experienced guys out there running that are definitely going to make it harder if you're a newcomer to the class. But don't be intimidated, right? If you got the build, your car, get some practice time in, get some seat time in, and bring it. Come to the shootout, bring it.
I'm going to go with Mike Rubin in the stock appearing class, just because you already picked Matt, and I know Mike has a lot of experience in this, and his evo is always fast. It's obviously under the RRT banner, and yeah, he's a cool dude too.
All right, guess we'll see how that one shakes out.
Yeah. What about Street Eliminator?
Yeah, I see Bob doubling up, man. Hands down.
Yeah. Yep. And I wonder if Tony is going to run against Bob and Street Eliminator, or has he gone up to Street 32?
I think he'll have to be a Street 32 car.
That's what I think.
Because yeah, he's on a JMF intake, the billet intake manifold. I don't think that even qualifies for Street Eliminator anymore.
Yeah. Yep. I also think that Bob will double up, and I'm gonna go with Jeremy Keys from the Spec Ops Boys to take it home for Street Eliminator.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, he's on that 68, 69 Zona, I believe. Unless it's changed. Last I knew, that's the route he was going, and that's a pretty badass turbo. I bought one myself, so.
I know he wanted to step out of the stack appearing, and he's already gone full, Nexus R5 and all that kind of stuff. So he's getting serious about it.
Yeah, that's definitely, on the over/under. That's a good one.
So what are you thinking for the Morrison Fab Quick 32?
I think Aaron Gregory is going to make a comeback. I think he's got a little more, confidence getting back in the car with these planetaries. I think he's going to get some more seat time, some more track time, shake everything down, get back into it. And I think Aaron's going to go do Aaron things and be consistent. We've seen it time and time again. You don't always have to be the quickest car, to win. You just got to be the one that can stay together and be consistent.
Exactly. And to see him out testing so early, he must be hungry for another win, and that's a confident, hungry Aaron is a scary thing out there on the track.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to go with. Oh man, this is a tough one. I'm going to go with Rafe and the Evo 10, bringing it home for the RRT team. I know they've made some changes to that car over the last off season, and obviously he took home second last year, and that car has been just so consistent. I think it's like you said, you don't have to be the fastest, you just got to stay together, and that car does that exceptionally well.
Yeah, and honestly, I had a feeling you were going to say that. In my gut, I was like, he's going to say Rafe Evo X. He's going to say it.
Yep. I mean, last year that thing was scary fast. And what was the final came down to something, right?
It was Devin and Rafe in the final.
Mm-hmm.
And they were somewhat close. I think Rafe was like an 8.0, and Devin. I know Devin ran a mid-7. I don't remember what the reaction times were, how close the race was from that regard, but.
I was thinking something happened to Rafe on the big end, but I don't remember for sure.
Oh, maybe. Because his mile hour was down. I just looked it up here. He ran 8.07 at 176.7. I want to say that mile an hour was down from what he was running for the week.
And I want to say the pass before that, when he knocked out Brad, I believe it was his PB, so you knew he was on it.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, something that we don't talk about a lot in our community because everybody seems to be, close. But obviously, families do fight. Do you see any rivalries that are brewing, or anything that maybe one team against another, kind of, button heads and going toe to toe this year, lined up next to each other?
I guess to me, I don't really see any, I'll say, hardcore rivalries. I mean, there are some guys that definitely have a drive to beat each other out. I don't think it's enough for people to really slither into some gray areas, though. You know what I mean? And some of the shenanigans you see at your local tracks Wednesday night trophy racing, right? The bracket guys are out there beating the crap out of each other because this guy had a piece of tape on the car.
Letting air out of each other's tires or something.
Yeah, exactly. Bump the dial a little bit, but nothing that crazy. I mean, there's definitely some guys that are hungry for some spots. I definitely Ben Hockman comes to mind, right? I know he is so hungry to get his car further up, and I know he's gonna push real hard, especially with what Rafe's been putting out there with the RRT cars. So really outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything too wild. I mean, we have some elusiveness, I'll say, around the autos, but I don't think that's going to be anything that's a real like rivalry, right? I mean, I would love to see some 2G auto cars that get into the sevens. That'd be cool. But yeah, in terms of like a rivalry or anything like that, nah, nothing too serious.
I definitely think that just from doing this podcast the last few months, there's definitely everyone seems to be a rival with Tony Marks. So I don't know what that says about Tony or our community as a whole. But everyone,
when Tony's got a pro mod like that, you put a big target on your back. So
I have heard that quite a bit.
There's one thing I learned from Tony: if you're not fast enough, you didn't spend enough money. That's what I learned.
I have also learned that. I wrote that down somewhere in my notes. Andrew, us both being auto guys, I think it's important to debate whether or not the autos will finally pick up this year because, there for a while, I want to say 2023, it seemed like autos were peaking. And then 2024, kind of had a little bit of a disappointment. Everybody was breaking the World Cup. Everybody was knocked out first round. All the stick guys moved on. And it didn't look great for us.
Yeah, I mean, the autos near and dear to my heart, and the planetaries were definitely it was a huge challenge. There were so many guys like Aaron and Rich that were just constantly fighting that, Jake Montgomery, right? All these quick guys have just been dealing with, you throw a set in and you get a couple passes, you throw a set in and they break the next pass. And, as a racer, it's so frustrating when you sit there and go, there's nothing I can do right now, right? I feel like I've hit a wall, and that's really what happened last year. But true to Kigley fashion, right? Kevin has been working his butt off to try and help get that solution ironed out. And with what is now, out there, the cars that are shaking those parts out, showing a lot of promise. And I think it's going to really help tighten the gap on the manual cars. Really, I think the bigger thing now is, and Josh, right? You and I and Harley, right? We were at PRI and we talked to Mr. Pete Nichols there at Circle D for a bit, and this converter situation is going to be tough, and it's going to always be tough. And this isn't just an us problem, right? In the Mitsubishi community, even big power V8 rear-wheel drive cars are constantly fighting converters. What stators to run, how to get them to do what they want. Because when you're trying to run so loose down low to spool a turbo, right, and so tight up top, you're asking for the impossible. That's not how a converter works. So it is the thing that is going to really, one, it's going to drive innovation, right? Again, the Circle D converters are not in a good position right now. which means you got to take what you do have and get creative. Fluids, pressures, variable flow valves. Who knows, right? These fast guys, they're going to keep trying stuff until they find something that gets them what they need, right?
Yeah.
Gets them that loose converter down low, tight up top. Because again, that's going to be the big limitation. I think the planetaries are going to be solid. I have full faith in Kevin and everything that he did with those. Now we just got to continue to work through this converter issue, and if that gets to a point where there's some more controllability around it, I see autos and manuals being really interchangeable when it comes to the drag strip.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it would be nice to tighten that gap and get up closer to the manual boys who seem to be getting PB after PB here recently. Andrew, I thought it would be fun to do like 3 predictions for the season and then 1 bold or hot take prediction. We can go back and forth. I'll start off. If I take one of yours, then let me know, and I'll think of another one. All right, my first prediction is that Aaron Gregory gets a PB this year.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. My first prediction is a little more broad. Right now, I was actually looking. There's 19 active cars in the sevens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say there's going to be 25.
Okay. I like that. What a year that would be for the Mitsubishi community as a whole. A lot more 7. All right. My second prediction is going to be that Albert Brzezinski goes 6-2 and moves up to number 2 overall in the all-time Mitsubishi list.
Ooh, that's a fancy one right there. I would say, well, we'll do this one because I kind of mentioned it earlier, but let's make it official. Chance Aubrey gets a 7.
Okay.
That's my boy down there in Indy. Who's your boy? It's gonna happen. It's gotta happen.
Yeah. He's got all the right parts and pieces. Just gotta throw a good run together.
Exactly.
Last prediction is that Nicholas Amaral is the next to run a 200-mile-per-hour pass in a year.
That almost seems like a safe bet, I feel like.
And it could go Ben, it could go Rashawn, but people are getting close.
Yeah. What about... Here we go. I got one. I got a little one. Pro Mod Tony Marks.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does a car drive back on the trailer at the shootout, but it's with a 7-second slip.
Oh.
We're going to double up on that one.
That would be... I think he'd probably pass away right after that.
And that's not even my bold one.
Oh, okay. My bold one kind of correlates with one of your predictions, your first one. My bold prediction, and this may not be a bold prediction, I hope it's not insulting to the person, is that Warren DeSouza goes 7s in the Free Candy Machine.
He is one of the ones that I anticipate being in that 25 number for sure. I would say for the bold, I'm going to give Harley Town some credit here. And he's going to get that car on the track, and it will click off a 9. Let's make it even more bold, within 5 passes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have faith.
I honestly have a lot of faith in him, too, and like I said, he's got the early performance team backing him, which if you're listening, don't already know, say most of the fast active DSMs also have early performance backing them, so it's a good place to be for him.
Yeah, yep, 100%. He's like I said, he definitely putting all the right pieces together, and I think it's going to come together for him. I think it's going to happen. So,
all right. So in a recap, we got a lot of new faces and a lot of old faces that are going to be hopefully moving up this year. We have a lot of faith in these new builds, and we're already seeing people early on and doing shakedowns that are going to be, we hope, headed to the shootout. And I think the shootout this year is going to be very, very exciting. I don't want people to lose faith because there's not a humongous pot. The racers are still coming out, and they're still going to shoot for some PBs and taking home the trophy. So don't have any doubts when it comes to that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been talking to the shootout guys, Mike and Brandon and everybody with regards to the poker run, and the feedback I've been getting around racer count and all of that is looking very, very positive already. So yeah, regardless of the pot situation, I mean, there is some pot stuff going on here in terms of people contributing. Great to see. I mean, anything helps, especially these big power guys, right? I mean, those cars are costly still. But yeah, it's definitely getting a lot of feedback so far that it's going to be just as big as last year. It's going to fill the parking lot again.
And
be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want people to lose a lot of faith. There's still a lot of really great events happening around the country. So even if your favorite car doesn't make it out to the shootout, I think we're still going to have plenty of good events to get some PBs. And I think we may even have the biggest World Cup Mitsubishi turnout so far this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And I'm really, really trying to figure out how to make my way over there to Maryland. It's a bit of a haul, but I want to get over there and take all that in. But yeah, there's so many events. I mean, even the IFO stuff, don't discount that. There's a lot of great events that are close to a lot of people. If you don't know, look it up. There's probably an IFO close to you. You probably fit one of the classes, and depending on the day, you could very easily take home some hardware, take home a trophy, right? Depends on who shows up and which event it is. So there's definitely a lot of good events, really near everybody's from a drag perspective. I mean, unless you're that far from a drag strip, there's probably something that's within a reasonable drive. So get out there and get your seat time, get your time slips,
and support these guys that are out here spending the big money. Buy a boosting shirt, make them, entice them to come to the shootout. Andrew, I want to add in some by the ways, because I think there's some honorable mentions that we forgot. Kigley and the Taco Bishi, I think is how he's going to say it. We didn't make any predictions regarding him, but I think he's got that trans figured out, and maybe he's going to be turning it up this year at the shootout, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's quietly escalating, I'll call it. He's definitely getting it sorted out. It'll be good to see what comes out of it. I know he's been fighting that rear suspension. I think he's got a better setup going on now, so it'll be good to see.
Another one that's quietly escalating, that I don't even know if he wants me to talk about the car. Jared Early has a non-Mitsubishi powered Starion that he's building for World Cup that is going to be monster, and he's getting some help from Mr. Chris Rankin, the owner of the quickest and fastest Mitsubishi chassis car in the world. So that should be pretty exciting when that all comes.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something to keep your eye on. That'll be fun. May not be the Mitsubishi powerhouse, under the hood, but doesn't take away from the cool factor.
Exactly. Well, on Spotify, I know you can go down and there's now a comment section. I really encourage the listeners to leave some comments about your predictions, and I would definitely love to discuss them or comment and reply to them. Also on YouTube, obviously you can comment, and me and Andrew will gather them up and hopefully comment, reply, all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. We love to hear from everybody. Again, I mean, I'm not going to be racing again this year, but I'll be at the shootout. I'll be watching everybody's updates and cheering everybody on, and yeah, keep the community tight. We're all in this together.
Exactly. Well, Andrew, definitely thank you for coming on here and taking the time out of your busy day to do this. I know it's something a little different, and hopefully people will enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate reaching out. Had fun, and it's always good talking with you, Josh.
Yes, sir. I'll see you soon.
Yep. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.